sage is about ready to seed out, then your Pejiwashtemna is coming up. So, you know, there's just different things within the earth that you notice when certain plants are done, then this plant is ready. So it's like she's continuously like startling us with her beauty, even though we know it comes every year. It's like seeing it for the first time all over again. So, you know, and that's our spirit meeting them. And just like old relatives, you cry when you see them. You know, you cry when you see your relatives after such a long time. And that's the same way with our plants. No matter how many years in a row you pick the Pejikota, you dig your tipsila, as soon as you see them the next year, you fall in love all over again. And that's the beauty of our way as a Lakota. We're filled with that love from the Creator, from Ate. And, you know, the Unchimaka, Ate, Wakantanka, they meet up. And when they're on top and underneath us, all we have to do is walk accordingly, and the medicines will watch over us and protect us. And that's all I've ever had in my mind. You know, my mom and my grandmas, every summer, you know, Takoja Hiu, you know, we have to go. So it's like, all right, you know, what do we got to do now? And so now my kids, they're just used to it. You know, we get bit up, there's wood ticks, you know, a lot of times too, you know, you have to remember that even this blade of grass down here has a spirit, you know, it's been here for a long time. And so when you're out here too, my mom told me that wherever there's a patch of sage, that's where some Lakotas fell. So, you know, when you're picking this too, you have to think about the past. You have to think about your ancestors. Who was here before you? Who was gathering this? Who was making sure that their family was protected through prayer and the pejikota that they used to smudge? So, you know, it's just a continuous cycle. It's a chungleshka, a hoop of prayer. It never stops. And that's how we need to keep it, you know. We need to keep ourselves inside the circle. And I think that by harvesting, by getting out here, by getting your kids out here, yourself, you conquer fears. Some people are scared of bugs, you know, some people are scared of snakes. A lot of people are just scared to get out in general. There's a lot of Lakota that have a hard time physically. They cannot harvest no more, you know. So it's good to maybe ask your neighbor, hey, do you need sage? Because I know where there's some and I can get it, you know. And once again, never take too much, never rip it from the ground. You know, just take what you need, and always remember that you're the little sibling of this plant. So, you know, don't be too bratty, don't be too spoiled. Always listen to the plants, and you know, don't abuse them, don't treat them bad, because you wouldn't want to treat yourself that way either. And so I just want to let everyone know that you know, when you harvest your pejikota, usually around that first, second week of July, that's around a good time to get it. That's when it's going good. It hasn't seeded out yet. When it seeds out, that's when, you know, you got to leave it for the next year. You know, you got to leave it so that it can grow again. And you must always have a good heart and a good mind when you do this, because with a good heart, a good mind, you become that powerful prayer, and you might be the prayer that your Tioshbaya needs. So thank you very much. Hechitu.
A little patch in the...
Well, yeah, see, this is the female sage right here. Yeah. Hey everyone, right here we have some of the Wian Pejikota. You can tell by the way it looks, kind of has like, she has a little perm, hey, but if you look at her leaves, they're smaller and they're more like curly, and that's how you can tell and distinguish that it's the female sage. Once again, this is real powerful stuff too. It's good to have on hand, but only if you know how to use it. You know, it's usually used more ceremonial, but this is what it looks like. So this is the female sage. generally when you're out harvesting, you want to get the male sage. So just letting you know, this is what it looks like. Okay, here we have some Pejiwa stemna, and it looks like some other, there's some really tall sage in here. I mean, sage that is probably as tall, waist length. So, you know, in here you gotta be careful too. So look at how tall this one is. So the Pejikota out here is really good, and usually the ones that are inside these thickets, these buck brushes are pretty good. I see some Kaopi Pejuta right there that hasn't turned yet. There's good little water source. There must be a spring that's close by because we've got some good growth right here. This plant is called the wild bergamot. That's the scientific name. One of us Lakotas, we call it Pejiwa stemna. We use this plant in our sweat lodge, and we use it at home. You can see it. It's very beautiful. It's purple. The bees love it, so you always have to be careful when you're out here. It smells really good, so the Weons would use it kind of like perfume. In fact, to this day, a lot of people ask me, is the perfume plant out? And it's also called Hekaka wastemna, or Hekaka wachpe wastemna, which is elk, smells good elk medicine, you know. And people say that, you know, you could use it for love medicine, you know, different stuff, but it has a lot of different medicinal purposes to it. You can use the leaves for it to, and the top, usually we hang it upside down to dry, and then sometimes, like, maybe sometimes you're having a bad day, sometimes you go to a house that, you know, it just isn't vibing, you know. So maybe they're arguing in there, you know. You come in, you can feel that tense air, you know. You could get some of this and mix it with your sage and burn it, and it'll cleanse your area, your home. It really is a good thing. Our people depend on these medicines, in the lodge especially. I have an auntie from Pine Ridge that we harvest a lot of this for. When you're out here too, you have to remember that you're not alone. The Wiwila Oyate, or the Chaoti Lilas, the tree people and the little people that protect the springs, they're here, and these are their plants. So, you know, sometimes, you know, you might run into them. And my oldest and I, we had that blessing from them, and it was very startling. It kept us on our toes, but it also reminded us of the power of our stories. And the story that connects us to this would be about my grandparents. My grandparents Susie and Francis Lone Dog. They lived in North Antelope, and she was my grandmother Rose's baby sister. One day they were going back to the house, and they got stuck in the creek. And my grandfather, he jumped out, and instead of getting chonzeka, instead of having, you know, bad thoughts, he thanked the Creator. He said, "How tukashila?" He said, "Thank you for allowing me at my age the strength to push my beautiful wife out." And someone tapped him on his knee, and it was a tiny person. It was a wiwila. He said, "Get in, I'll help you." So my grandpa jumped in, and he pushed, got him out of that creek. And so I always knew that story about that creek. And my oldest and I, we went to that creek last year to get some medicine, and I wanted to get a root. And so we got there, and we were there, and I was having him hold everything, and I was going to town. I was getting my stuff, and I heard some loud footsteps. So I stopped. I said, "Thorn," I said, "Be careful." I said, "I think there might be a horse." So he said, "What? Whatever, you know, we're in a big old open field. Creek right beside us." So I said, "Well, okay." So that quick, I looked over, and the tallest washtemna I've ever seen. See that one right there? It's pretty tall, almost as tall as me. Ayats aren't very tall, but anyway, I seen it, and I said, "Gee, look at that one." And when I took that first step, I thought that wiwila took off running. Ooh, and it made every hair on me stand up, and I stopped, and I said, "Thorn, we're done. come on, let's go. But we didn't run, we walked. We had to walk like a half a mile, almost a mile back to our car. But as we walked, he said, Auntie, do you think that Wirila was the same one that pushed Grandma and Grandpa out? And it made me think, maybe it was. And my friend, he said, you know, maybe that Wirila, the prayer that you had cutting, maybe it's the same prayer that your Grandma and Grandpa had. Maybe that's why, you know, they came to check on you. So, you know, you always have to remember that you're not alone out here. The animal nation, you know, every nation is out here with you. And when you pray, you should be telling them thank you anyway, you know. You know, they all come. Especially, you hear the bird nation, and they're always greeting you, you know, they're always telling you, you know, hey, I see you, I love you, and, you know, it's a beautiful feeling. So when you're out here, you know, you're alone, you're getting your medicines, like I said, be in a good way, and always remember that you're the little sibling of this plant, and so no matter what, they're going to take care of you. So always watch yourself, just like you would watch, you know, yourself in any other way. And remember that the plants are here for us. They're here for us to take care of us, to help us, to nourish us, to keep us safe, and to help us live. And so always think in a good way and walk in a good way as well. Head you do.